There was no seat for me in your family photo anymore. Staring at the scattered photos across the dining table, I pick up one with trembling fingers. Last Christmas. My parents, Sabrina, and Aunt Ramona smiling in front of the fireplace. 4 stockings hanging from the mantelpiece. 4 chairs arranged neatly around the table. I'm not there. The camera angle is calculated. The left-end chair where I sat every year is cleverly hidden by other furniture, as if it never existed in the first place. Sabrina's smile seems particularly bright. Wrapped in a designer sweater, nestled between our parents, playing the perfect daughter. Strange, isn't it? I turn around to find Grandpa standing at my kitchen entrance, holding an old album with a sad expression. This was sent last month, before you even bought your house. An icy sensation spreads through my chest. Before? Yes. Grandpa sighs deeply. Ever since I decided to give you the education fund I inherited when Grandma passed away, their attitude changed. My phone buzzes, a message from Mom. We need to have a family meeting. There's something important to discuss. Bring Grandpa too. At that moment, memories flood back vividly. 2 weeks ago. The night I clutched my new house keys, too excited to sleep. I read the $412,000 mortgage approval letter over and over. At 30 years old, I finally had a home that was entirely my own. The real estate agent's words still echo in my ears. You accomplished this completely on your own. You should be proud. That night, I celebrated alone with Chinese takeout and champagne I'd been saving since my promotion last year. Senior financial analyst, the culmination of 15 years of effort. I wandered through the empty rooms, mentally placing the furniture I'd carefully budgeted for. Finally, irrevocably, it was a space that belonged only to me. Look, Grandpa, I said during our video call later, panning my phone around the living room. I did it. Tears swelled up in his eyes. You sure did, sweetheart. You sure did. The first sign that something was wrong appeared immediately after I announced the purchase. Edward, my father, and Marlene, my mother, looked tense and uncomfortable on the FaceTime screen. Sabrina hovered behind them in their living room, designer handbag dangling from her arm. How many bedrooms? Mom asked, her smile brittle. 3, and a nice yard too, I answered. That's quite a purchase for someone your age, Dad said, his jaw working. Sabrina leaned into the frame, her perfectly styled hair falling forward. Must be nice to have that kind of money. Mom's eyes darted to Sabrina. You know your sister's been having a rough time, Arden. I should have recognized the warning signs then. But nothing could have prepared me for their ambush a week later. We need to discuss a family matter, Dad said, his face filling my phone screen in that business tone he used for difficult conversations with employees. Mom dabbed at her eyes with a tissue. We've always put family first, haven't we? Always supported each other? Sabrina needs stability more than you do, Dad continued. She has creative plans for that house. You can keep renting. I stared at them, uncomprehending. This is my house. I worked for it. Sabrina can earn her own. Don't be selfish, Mom snapped. Family helps family. My consciousness returns to the present. Grandpa looks at me with concern. Arden? With trembling hands, I point to the documents on my kitchen counter. The certified letter that arrived yesterday. Edward Lorne and Marlene Lorne versus Arden Lorne. They actually did it, Grandpa says, picking up the papers. $300,000 in damages. My coffee mug slips from my hands and shatters on the floor. Dark liquid seeps into the grout between tiles as my hands begin to tremble, the legal documents wavering before my eyes. The demands jump out in stark black text. Immediate transfer of property and $300,000 in damages. My own parents are suing me. It's about the education fund. Grandpa's voice hardens. The money Grandma had set aside for you girls' college. It was supposed to be used when you went to university. But they used it all for Sabrina's art school tuition. So I prepared the same amount from my own inheritance for your down payment. The memories come flooding back vividly. 18-year-old me, confused when they refused to fill out the FAFSA. What do you mean you won't fill out the FAFSA? I asked, clutching university application papers. You're an adult now, time to stand on your own feet, Dad had said. A week later, I found an apartment listing. $400 a month, roaches included. The start of real independence. As I read through the documents, my throat closes up. Aunt Ramona's name appears as financial backer of the lawsuit. An email from Sabrina is attached as evidence, claiming I stole her opportunity. The demands are spelled out in clinical legal language. Transfer of property deed to Sabrina Lorne. Continued mortgage payments for 18 months. Minus $300,000 for child rearing costs. Written apology for damaging family trust. I dial Grandpa's number with shaking hands. They've gone too far this time, he says after I explain, his voice hard with anger. I spend the next hour researching attorneys, my heart sinking at retainer fees starting at $10,000. Money I don't have after the down payment and closing costs. The reality settles over me like a heavy blanket. I'll have to defend myself. That night, I sit alone in my new home, surrounded by boxes I haven't had the energy to unpack. Tears threaten, but don't fall. In their place, something stronger takes root. Determination. They want my house? The one I spent 15 years saving for while they bankrolled Sabrina's failed ventures. The home I earned through countless overtime shifts and careful budgeting. Let them try. I stand up and walk to my bedroom window, looking out at the quiet street below. This is my home, my achievement, my line in the sand. They chose to attack what I've built. Now I'll choose to defend it. I spread financial documents across my dining room table. Morning sun casts shadows between stacks of bank statements and tax returns. My laptop screen glows with an open spreadsheet, 15 years of financial life reduced to columns and formulas. The numbers tell a story my family doesn't want told. Memory flashback. 16 years old, $5.25 an hour at Morningstar Coffee. Tip split between 3 baristas. I can still smell the burnt espresso, feel the ache in my feet after 8-hour shifts. You're missing Sabrina's Sweet 16, Mom had texted that night. The DJ cost a fortune. I'd watched the party unfold on social media between customers. My sister in a custom pink dress, surrounded by floating lanterns and a chocolate fountain. Cost, roughly 3 months of my wages. I trace my finger down a column of community college receipts. Night classes after work. Textbooks bought used. Careful budgeting of every meal. Dad's voice echoes from that period. An accounting certificate? It's not even a real degree. The memory of my 18th birthday surfaces, not the celebration, but the argument that followed. Present day. My phone rings. Mom's number. I let it go to voicemail, already knowing the script. Arden, sweetheart. Her message quavers. We've always given you both exactly what you needed. Why are you being so difficult about this? I pull up my email, finding Dad's response to my emergency root canal 4 years ago. Figure it out. Below it, bank statements showing $2,000 transferred to Sabrina that same week for creative supplies. My sister's Instagram feed tells its own story. Study abroad semesters in Paris and Rome funded by our parents. Art supplies that cost more than my monthly rent. Meanwhile, my student loan statements march endlessly onward, minus $47,000 in debt. Every payment made alone. Being the older sister means taking care of things, Mom used to say. But taking care always went in one direction. Don't make this harder than it needs to be, Dad's latest email warns. I delete it without responding. A new voicemail notification pops up. Aunt Ramona this time. You selfish girl. After everything this family's done for you. I research her history online, finding foreclosure records from 5 years ago, the same year she started living in Mom and Dad's guest house. The pieces click. She's not just backing their lawsuit. She's looking for her own backup plan. A quick social media search reveals Sabrina's latest crisis. Eviction notice from her creative studio apartment 3 weeks ago. The timing aligns perfectly with their lawsuit. The doorbell rings, startling me. Grandpa stands on my porch, carrying a weathered cardboard box. "I thought you might need these," he says, setting it down. "Ever since the lawsuit started, I've been worried about your safety." I used the spare key. Grandpa had been my support system since the house purchase. Weekend repair work, weekday dinners, and now a pillar of strength in this legal battle. Inside the box are decades of family financial records, meticulously organized. "They did the same thing to cousin Thomas," he explains, "when they claimed he owed them for family investments." An hour later, a knock at the door reveals my neighbor holding a potted plant. "Welcome to the neighborhood," she says warmly, despite surely having heard about the family drama. This support strengthens me for the waves that follow in the coming days. Certified letters threatening property seizure, Sabrina's tearful Facebook posts, and calls from my parents' country club friends about family duty. A silver Mercedes cruises past my house for the third time today, a phone raised to take pictures. An hour later, my supervisor calls about an anonymous concern regarding my character. I spend my lunch break filing a motion to dismiss, using every scrap of legal knowledge gleaned from late-night research. The court clerk raises her eyebrows at my prosa filing. This is surprisingly thorough. The preliminary hearing is set for next month. That evening, I sit on my new porch swing, watching the sunset. The scene triggers a memory. Teenage me walking this same street, admiring these houses, promising myself I'd earn one someday. "You're dreaming too big," Mom had said when I mentioned it. Maybe I was. But I did it anyway. A young family walks past, children laughing as they chase fireflies. I think about fortifying my boundaries. They say blood is thicker than water. But I'm learning that some family ties are actually chains. Sometimes love means standing firm, even when it hurts. Sometimes independence comes at a price worth paying. I gather my documents and head inside, leaving the porch light on and not for family, but for the new connections I'm building, one kindness at a time. Next week, the church bulletin lies crumpled on my kitchen counter. 3 more prayer requests from my parents' congregation, expressing concern for my wayward path and hardened heart toward family. I add them to the growing pile. My smartphone buzzes with another social media notification. Sabrina's latest Instagram story features her tearfully holding our childhood photo album. Family means supporting each other no matter what. #family first. The timestamp shows 3 prime posting hours for maximum sympathy engagement. I pull up my financial tracking spreadsheet, the one I've maintained since my first dishwashing job at May's Diner. 15 years old, scrubbing plates until midnight while my classmates planned homecoming outfits. The memory of pruned fingers and aching feet feels fresh, along with May's gentle reminder. "You're building something, girl. Keep those records clean. Each cell tells a story." $6.25 an hour times 30 hours weekly, minus bus fare. Community college tuition payments scheduled around 3 part-time jobs. The studio apartment with the leaking ceiling and the second-hand futon I'd proudly purchased for $40. "You really live like this?" Mom had asked during her only visit, eyes sweeping over my carefully arranged thrift store furniture. The spreadsheet continues. Monthly savings transfers, starting at $200, growing to $300 as my certifications brought better opportunities. Years of careful planning, every extra penny funneled toward my dream of homeownership. Did you see the email? A mass email to our extended family had arrived, detailing my betrayal of family values and designing to isolate me. Sounds familiar. Cousin Thomas confirms. They did the same thing to me. Tuesday afternoon, my smartphone rings. Saw the article, Thomas says. Sabrina went crying to the media. The local paper bought into the heartless sister abandons artist angle. I opened the local newspaper's website. Sisters dispute family legacy. Features her posed artistically in her former studio apartment, surrounded by half-finished canvases. Her tearful plea to the reporter is quoted. "I learned art with family support, but my successful sister abandoned me." "Got those records you asked about?" he continues. The family investment they claimed I owed, the numbers match Aunt Ramona's foreclosure exactly. The Whole Foods automatic doors slide open, and I freeze. Sabrina stands by the organic produce, designer sunglasses perched on her head. Too late to retreat, she spotted me. Well, if it isn't the family trader, she announces loudly enough for nearby shoppers to turn. I focus on selecting tomatoes, keeping my voice steady. Hello, Sabrina. You always thought you were better than us, she hisses, stepping closer. With your precious spreadsheets and your boring job. You know what that house could be? An amazing art cafe concept. People would love it. I meet her eyes. And how would you handle the mortgage? Property taxes? She waves dismissively. Obviously, that part would still be your responsibility, since you're so good with money. Her lip curls. Unlike some of us who actually pursued our passions. Ma'am? The store manager appears. Is everything all right? Sabrina's voice rises dramatically. My own sister? Abandoning her family? I leave my cart, walking calmly toward the exit as Sabrina's performance echoes behind me. The manager catches my eye with a knowing look. We all know what's really happening here. Back home, I spread out the documents Grandpa delivered. Parents' financial records showing Sabrina's $90,000 student loans paid in full. A $25,000 business loan for her failed pottery studio. Their mortgage-free property deed. And buried in old emails, the truth. Time to teach Arden a lesson about family obligation before she gets too independent, Aunt Ramona had written. My hands shake as I compile court exhibits. The room spins slightly, too many memories crowding in. I'm 5 years old again, watching Mom remove my crayon drawing from the refrigerator. Sabrina needs space for her new watercolor. A gentle knock. Grandpa enters without waiting, carrying a weathered photo album. Found these in the attic, he says, settling into the chair beside me. Grandma kept everything. The photos tell a different story. Me at every minimum wage job, proudly holding first paychecks. A display of perfect attendance certificates. My community college graduation, Grandma beaming beside me. She saw you, Grandpa says softly. She knew what you were building. Those textbooks that just showed up at the campus bookstore. That was her. Grandpa works alongside me on his truck, filling in more gaps. Grandma had set aside college funds for you girls, he says quietly. Your parents redirected it, called it investing in Sabrina's talent. He pulls out an old envelope from his inner pocket. So Grandma wrote this in her final will. The handwritten text trembles. For Arden's education and independence, I designate savings account #7854. To be given directly to her, free from parental interference. She had foresight. Grandpa's voice carries pride. That's why I carried out her wishes and used it for your house down payment. Tears blur my vision as I stand before the bathroom mirror, practicing my court statement. The voice that emerges sounds stronger than I feel. I am not responsible for supporting adult family members who refuse to support themselves. I straighten my blazer, purchased on sale last year, meticulously recorded in my budget. Security cameras blink steadily. Evidence binders stand ready, each document telling its own truth. Some sacrifices strengthen us even as they break our hearts. Sometimes the hardest boundaries are the ones we need most. I touch the small photo of Grandma I'll carry tomorrow, her eyes twinkling with the pride she never spoke aloud. She understood the price of independence. Now it's my turn to prove I was worth her investment. On Confrontation Day, the courthouse steps gleam in the morning sun as I adjust my grip on the leather document case. A graduation gift from Grandma, now carrying the weight of 15 years' receipts and records. Each step feels deliberate, grounding. The glass doors reflect my image. Navy blazer, pressed slacks, minimal jewelry. Professional, prepared. A far cry from my first courthouse visit at 16, seeking work papers with trembling hands. Oh, perfect timing. Sabrina's voice rings across the marble lobby. My family forms a coordinated tableau of matching white blood first shirts under sport coats and cardigans. Mom dabs at carefully smudged mascara, while Dad's attorney arranges papers with theatrical precision. Aunt Ramona catches my eye, lips curving into a familiar smirk. Last chance to avoid embarrassing the family, dear. I keep walking, heels clicking steadily against marble. I think about family dinners, holiday gatherings, the complex web of loyalty and obligation. The security guard nods as I pass through the metal detector. My heart beats steady despite the weight of their stares. The courtroom feels smaller than expected. Wood panels absorb sound, creating a bubble of focused silence. I arrange my exhibits with practiced efficiency, each tab color-coded and annotated. The methodology that earned eye rolls at family dinners now serves as armor. All rise. Judge Martinez enters, her quick assessment taking in both sides. Her gaze lingers on the matching shirts before settling on the stack of motions. Interesting filing, she comments, scanning the first page. Please proceed. Dad's attorney rises, straightening his tie. Your Honor, this case centers on familial obligation and traditional values. The Lorne family invested approximately $300,000 in raising their daughter, as documented by USDA statistics. Objection. I state clearly. Irrelevant. Standard child care costs don't create legal debt. Sustained. Judge Martinez's pen taps her notepad. Counsel, proceed with actual claims. Mom takes the stand first, tissue clutched dramatically. We sacrificed everything for our girls' private lessons, summer camps. Her voice breaks. How can she abandon us now that she's successful? I stay focused on my notes as she describes my selfish career choices, my rejection of family values. Each accusation lands softer than the last, buffered by years of documented truth. Dad testifies next, his authoritative boardroom voice filling the space. In our family, successful children support their parents. It's understood. And when was this agreement made? Judge Martinez interrupts. It's traditional, he stumbles. Implied. Your Honor, I begin my cross-examination. Did you provide similar support for Sabrina's education? Objection. Irrelevant. Their attorney stands. I'll allow it, Judge Martinez says. Answer the question. Dad shifts uncomfortably. Sabrina needed help pursuing her artistic gifts. Please review Exhibit C, I direct. Bank statements showing $90,000 in student loan payments for Sabrina's fine arts degree, plus $25,000 for her studio. Sabrina's testimony comes next, tears flowing on cue. The house would be perfect for my healing art cafe concept. I'd let her keep a room, of course. And the mortgage? Judge Martinez asks. Property taxes? Well, Arden's good with money stuff, Sabrina waves dismissively. She'd handle that part. The judge's eyebrow rises. What's your current employment status? I'm between projects, Sabrina sniffs. My art requires emotional space. I stand for my testimony, spreading out 15 years of pay stubs, rent receipts, college transcripts. I began working at 15, Your Honor. Every job documented, every penny accounted for. Including parental support? The judge asks. None received. I present bank statements. I paid my own way through community college while working 3 jobs. My house down payment came from 15 years of careful saving. She's twisting things. Aunt Ramona bursts out. This ungrateful girl. Silence, Judge Martinez warns. She studies my documentation, then addresses my parents directly. Would you be making these demands if both daughters were struggling financially? The silence speaks volumes. I've heard enough. The judge closes her folder. This case lacks any legal merit whatsoever. Properties purchased independently remain independent. Case dismissed with prejudice. Aunt Ramona's outraged screech echoes off marble as security escorts her out. Sabrina collapses in the hallway, but court personnel step carefully around her prone form, faces neutral. You'll regret choosing money over family, she calls after me. I pause at the courthouse doors, sunlight streaming through glass. Behind me, Mom's voice rises. How could you do this to your family? but the weight pressing against my chest for months finally lifts. Through the window, I spot Grandpa's truck idling at the curb. His steady presence a reminder that family, a real family, builds you up instead of tearing you down. "You okay, kid?" he asks as I climb in. I watch my biological family huddled on the courthouse steps, their matching shirts a bright blur in the rearview mirror. "I think I finally am." "Grandma would be proud," he says softly. "She always said you had the strength to build your own path." The familiar streets look different somehow, clearer, like after a storm. Each carefully earned mile bringing me closer to home. My home, protected now by truth and law and the quiet power of standing firm. In my pocket, the small photo of Grandma seems to warm slightly. She'd understood the price of independence, the courage required to choose yourself. Some sacrifices strengthen us, even as they break our hearts. Sometimes the hardest boundaries become our strongest foundations. The security system chimes as I enter my home, my legally protected home now. 3 days since the courtroom victory, and already the quiet feels different. Not peaceful exactly, but fortified. My phone buzzes. Another notification from Sabrina's GoFundMe. My sister stole my future. The fabricated story beneath makes my stomach clench. After supporting me through art school, my sister betrayed our family's trust. Now I'm facing homelessness while she hoards wealth in an empty house. Please help me create my healing art cafe. I screenshot it for my attorney, then silence notifications. The lies sting less than the calculated manipulation. She knows exactly how to play the victim. Sounds familiar. Cousin Thomas confirms. They did the same thing to me. That night, the security system chirps again. Motion detected. Through the app, I watch a familiar figure creep past my house for the third time tonight. At midnight, the camera catches the approaching figure in the porch light, spray paint can glinting. It's Sabrina. This house is mine. Realizing she's being recorded, my sister hurries away in panic. A red streak remains on my new door. The responding officer arrives quickly. "Sister trouble, I see," he says, reviewing the video. "It happens, but property damage is still a crime. Want to press charges?" I think about family dinners, holiday gatherings, the complex web of loyalty and obligation. I need to file for a restraining order. Next week, the courthouse feels different. Where fear once lived, determination takes root. The clerk processes my paperwork efficiently, eyebrows rising at the family names. "Judge Martinez's courtroom again," she notes. She'll remember the context. The temporary order comes through immediately, backed by the officer's testimony and security footage. Each signature feels like both victory and loss, protecting my future while severing my past. They tried this with others too. Our old neighbor Mrs. Chen tells me over coffee yesterday. Her letter arrived detailing 20 years of observed family dynamics. Your father demanded family support from his brother too before cancer took him. Your aunt has always been jealous of your mother's marriage. Uses money to control people. Grandpa fills in more gaps as we work on his truck together. Grandma had set aside college funds for you girls, he says quietly. Your parents redirected it. Called it investing in Sabrina's talent. He pulls out an old envelope from his inner pocket. So Grandma wrote this in her final will. The handwritten text trembles. For Arden's education and independence, I designate savings account #7854. To be given directly to her, free from parental interference. She had foresight. Grandpa's voice carries pride. That's why I carried out her wishes and used it for your house down payment. The permanent restraining order hearing arrives too quickly, and not soon enough. The matching shirts are gone, replaced by subtle designer labels and practiced humility. Their new attorney speaks of reconciliation, portraying me as vindictive and unbalanced. Your Honor, I stand, evidence organized with familiar precision. I'll let the facts speak. Security footage plays. Police reports detail workplace disruptions, the GoFundMe screenshots, the email campaign. Enough. Judge Martinez interrupts. Restraining order granted and expanded to include digital harassment. Any violation will result in immediate consequences. That evening, the local paper runs the story. Family property lawsuit dismissed. Restraining order granted. Sabrina's GoFund disappears. Reported for fraud. Messages trickle in from extended family. Support. Similar stories. Quiet solidarity. Cousin Rachel called. Grandpa tells me over dinner. Says she's proud of you. Others are starting to speak up about their experiences too. I watch him season his potatoes with methodical care, the same attention to detail he taught me in his garage. Rebuilding engines while sharing life wisdom. Does it get easier? I ask. Choosing yourself? He sets down his fork. Sometimes family is what you build, not what you're born into. Grandma knew that. Why do you think she left you those tools in her will? Later, I complete my nightly security routine. Doors locked, cameras active, systems armed. The red paint is gone from the door, but its ghost remains a reminder of boundaries earned and enforced. In my journal, words flow. I protected what I earned, but I'm mourning what never was. The family I wanted existed only in my hopes. The family I have now, the ones who choose truth over comfort, growth over control, they're the foundation for something real. My phone lights up with another text from Thomas. Dinner next week? Rachel and her kids want to meet at that new place downtown. I smile, typing back, count me in. The security system chimes softly, all secure. Through the window, I watch the sunset paint my garden in gentle golds. Grandma's roses, transplanted from her yard, bloom stubbornly against the fence. Some things grow stronger when forced to root deeper, finding nourishment in unexpected soil. Tomorrow will bring new challenges, but tonight, in this house I earned and defended, I am anchored in truth. Some victories carry the weight of grief, but they clear the ground for new growth, new connections, new definitions of family. I turn off the lights, leaving one on for the porch, a habit learned from Grandma. Not all traditions need to be broken. Some, like her wisdom and strength, become the foundation for something better. Morning sunlight streams through my kitchen windows. A year since the restraining order, and my life has found a steady rhythm. Grandpa and I are building a dining table on Sundays. Big enough for the people who actually want to be here. Saw your father yesterday, he says. Looked like he'd aged 10 years. I remember their perfect house. I heard Sabrina's in Oregon. Running away again, he shakes his head. Friends gather for Sunday potluck. Thomas and Rachel, my colleague Sarah, a chosen family. Grandpa stands up, tapping his glass. To this house, and to the woman who built it not just with lumber and nails, but with courage and truth. The toast ripples through my chosen family. That evening, I join Grandpa on the porch swing. You didn't just protect your house, he says quietly. You defended your worth. My phone buzzes. A text from the young analyst I'm mentoring at work. You showed me it was possible, she writes. Stars emerge overhead, constant as truth, bright as possibility. Some people say family is who you're born to, but I've learned it's who you choose to become, and who chooses to witness that becoming with love and respect. I turn off the lights, leaving one on for the porch, a habit learned from Grandma. Not all traditions need to be broken. Some, like her wisdom and strength, become the foundation for something better.